This was not how life started out for you, because 2010, you were an archaeology student.
Yeah.
You had a regular 9-to-5 job at a construction company. So how does a girl like you suddenly become a dominatrix? Where did it begin?
So I was 22 and had just graduated from USC with my degree in archaeology, which is not the most practical degree in the world, as you can imagine, and had like $100,000 in student loans and no idea what I was doing with my life. And found myself in this like 8-to-5 standard job. And I think like a lot of 22-year-olds kind of panicked and was like, what am I doing with my life? This is so boring. So I also realized I'd been really unsatisfied in my relationships and had never really found my voice. Like I was just becoming whoever my partners wanted me to be. So when I started asking, what am I really interested in? Turned out it was something a little more interesting.
Well, you Googled it, didn't you? So to have a look to see what it was, because it's not something you'd ever been brave enough to do in your own relationship.
No, yeah, I'd never explored at all, and just sort of went down one of those Google black holes and found a working dungeon close to where I was living in LA.
And they were looking for people to come and work for them.
Yeah, there was the
no
banner that said, now hiring, no experience necessary. And I was like, who answers something like that?
I'm used to handling old fossils. Yeah. I mean, that works perfectly.
It's a logical jump. Yeah, exactly.
And so when you said, kind of, which I love, you rang them back and said, what do I wear?
Yeah, it's stuff like that where you know, in some ways it's like a normal job, but then you're like, okay, I'm going for a job interview. What do you wear to an interview at a dungeon? So I'm glad I called back, because I would have shown up in like a leather cat suit, or, you know, my interpretation of what it should be. And they said, no, we keep a low profile, you know.
And I mean, so you turn up to a dungeon. I mean, what's the dungeon like? I mean, it sounds terrifying. Is it a dungeon like how I would imagine a dungeon?
Not at all. You know, it sounds like a dark hole in the ground with chains on the wall, but it's not. It's this really inviting, pleasant space, and there's different rooms to match all the different themes. So there's like a medical room, and adult Disneyland. So they've like gone to just such a level of detail to meet the theme. So the classroom has like desks and a chalkboard and a globe, and you know, you walk in and you really feel like you're in that environment.
What are the boundaries? There's no sex.
No sex. So no penetration, no exchange of bodily fluids, no like actual sex acts happen there, which I think surprises people. They assume it's a sex dungeon.
Although people do push their luck.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you obviously get people who are trying to break the rules or push the boundaries. But
you said that's the only time you thought, oh, why am I doing this?
Yeah, there were a few times where it was just like, disrespectful clients where I left and it just didn't feel good.
Did you feel safe always there?
Most of the time. There were a few times where it got a little bit questionable, but everything was okay in the end.
So how do they train you to do something like that?
It's fun. I mean, part of it is you just get thrown into the room and you have to figure it out. But part of it is like a mentoring relationship with the other women who work there. And that was one of the most surprising things for me, is you expect women competing for clients to be kind of catty. But it was such an empowering, supportive female space where they were all really teaching each other and
is that because
sharing the tips of the trade.
During the day, working in the construction industry as a male-dominated area, that in the evenings you are doing the dominating. It was
a really strange flip for me, and it definitely helped me to find my voice, even in that corporate space where, you know, by night I was going to this place where I was encouraged to be as aggressive and forward and confident as I wanted to be. And I think as women, we tone ourselves down to not be too masculine or aggressive. So it really gave me permission to bring that side out. And during the day, I was so much more comfortable at my job.
You've been very discreet, and you've spoken about the fact that there are many recognisable faces that pass through the dungeon doors, I guess. How do you not get starstruck, or how do you maintain that sort of domineering character when it's somebody that you might suddenly feel slightly on the back foot about?
It's definitely a challenge, right? I had one client where he was famous enough that, I was starstruck, and initially...
This is a major A-lister.
Yeah, you know who he is.
Okay.
And that one I was sort of initially like, oh, you know, I'm going to tell my mom that I've seen him. And then I was like, wait, I can't tell her because I haven't told her I'm a dominatrix. So that's a problem. But
when did you tell her?
After I had stopped doing it, and I spent the whole time I was working in mortal fear that she was going to find out, like my life was over if she found out. And when she did find out, she was so much more open-minded than I expected her to be.
Back to the A-lister.
Yep.
What did the A-lister want?
He wanted some things that I can't say on TV, but mostly to be flogged and led around by a leash that was attached to a piercing that was in a naughty place.
Oh,
Oh,
so the A-lister's got a piercing.
He does, yeah. Does that give you some information?
Not really,
Do you know which A-listers have piercings? Do you have a list?
Not really.
Someone out there does.
But so what is it then? What is it that drives these men and women to do this? I mean, is it a control thing? Is it being out of control in a world? I don't know. What is it? What do you think draws people to it?
I mean, depending on the fetish, there's different motivations, but I think, I mean, in that one especially, like, just that power exchange. And if you're someone like that who's used to everyone saying yes to you all the time, it's really thrilling to surrender control to someone else and be vulnerable. And just that power exchange is really exciting for people.